Gigi Blankies proudly presents Musings with Steve and Teresa. They're here to enlighten, entertain, and inform about issues they think are important. They want people to think about how positive actions make positive people. Their show is captured and linked to YouTube. The programs are listed in the archives of both Blog Talk Radio and YouTube video, and you can watch it as well as listen. Now on with the show.
Hello everyone, welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Our show is captured and linked to YouTube. The programs are listed in the archives of both Blog Talk Radio and YouTube as Musings with Steve and Teresa. The links can be found on our Facebook page, and you can watch as well as listen. Now, strangely enough, we refer to our efforts as Musings with Steve and Teresa. I'm Steve, the co-host.
I'm Teresa, the other co-host.
And we're here to enlighten, entertain, inform about issues that we think are important. We want people to think about how positive actions make positive people. Terry, what do we got for blankies today?
Well, I've got two new blankies today that I showed them in construction a few weeks ago, or at least I think I did. But anyway, they're finished. We have for the Walk on the Wild Side blankies, we have the Tiger family here that I put a nice green binding on. Now, all these pictures, I will take pictures and they'll all be posted on the Gigi Blankies Facebook page so you can get a better look at them. And this one's going to be just called Tiger Family, and it's got a green background on the back side and a nice panel. And this one, I haven't come up with the name yet. We got, I don't know, he called it something strange last week, but I think we're going to call it Copper Drops, just because I can't think of nothing else. But it's a nice pattern on the inside, and I think it's the same on both sides, yep, with a nice copper-looking blankie binding. I love that color. You know, and they'll be available, well, they're available now, but I'll put the pages, the new blankie pictures on the Facebook page later today. I haven't even taken their pictures yet. But that's what we got going today. And then we have a couple other surprises, I think, that we'll wait a few minutes to
in a little bit about the new product.
Yes, but we have a guest today.
Amy Pomar from Jacksonville, Florida. When most people have midlife crisis, Amy's blasting through hers. We were talking before before the program, and she was giving a rundown of what all she's doing, and I was getting tired listening. Welcome, Amy. We really enjoy having you here.
Yeah, welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of what you guys are doing here. I can't wait to talk.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Well, Amy is an ex-corporate recruiter into raising a family, and then got back into the business of advertising consultations, and as a byproduct she finds that she has an insight that's very unique and very helpful to solving problems. And so that's what we're going to talk about, actually, is her insight.
Yeah.
And we're anxious to see how it goes. You sent us four topics that you wanted to particularly address, and a universal law, awakening and ascension, becoming unveiled, and following intuition. Now, I don't see any particular sequence to that, so your choice, Amy. What comes to you right now?
Well, as you're rereading that list back to me, I realized that I think I did that list a little bit backwards.
Well, I thought so too, but
So I think maybe starting with the intuition part, I had, several years ago, well, I think everybody has a gut feeling about the way things should be, or a direction to go, or even about how things are going to end up. When you walk into a room going, I have a feeling I'm going to meet somebody really important today, and a couple days later, you realize just how important the person you met really was to you. And looking back at that gut feeling, of intuition that this was going to happen, and then being open to receiving that type of connection really allows you to start to learn to trust your gut.
Well, I think that's the important.
Start to learn to trust.
Yeah, that's the important part is that you recognize it.
A lot of people totally ignore that little voice. They say, "Oh, that's silly." No, but pay attention.
Well, it's something that we all have, and depending on what things in life you enjoy, you might call it something else. My husband really enjoys playing golf and sports, and in his world, it would be called muscle memory. My mother was great at talking in proverbs or sounding the alarms or the bells, and things that remind you of a time in your life, a time where you had success, a time where you maybe made a bad choice and you had that bad feeling in the pit of your stomach. That's all muscle memory, and it's there to remind you that you have a choice to make. And depending on if the muscle memory is a good feeling or a bad feeling, kind of helps you determine if you're heading in the right direction. I have learned very much to go with my gut, and sometimes so much so that if my gut tells me to make a left and to stop at this store, that I now do that, and when I do, great things always happen. I meet somebody, I get to see something I've never seen before, or I learn something new about another person or myself. And I can't think of any other way to live right now. It just never seems to be wrong. And I think that this is a gift that's been given to us and also been stripped from us at the same time. And it's important, I believe, for people to start going back to their center and their 0 point so that they can start to make good decisions for themselves first.
Well, some people would say living by your intuition like that is illogical, irrational, and now I've done the logical, rational route, and it's like, well, I'm a lot better following my intuition. My intuition has saved my life about 4 times in the last 30 years just by listening to it. And I recommend paying attention to that little voice. It's like Steve here. He has a little voice that tells him things. He used to call it a little bird. He would tell him things, and that bird used to rat on me things that he shouldn't have known. So we have to follow. I say follow your intuition.
That was just simply intimidation.
Yeah, well, I still don't know how he pulled it off.
Well, I agree with you, Amy. I talked to one of my relatives yesterday, and we talk occasionally. And he is a bibliophile and very, very, very conservative, straight-laced. And if it's not in the book, it doesn't exist. And I keep telling him, Paul, there's more. And
well, you told me, you said you're absolutely right, but there's more.
Yeah, what you're encouraging is necessary to a lot of people who have corseted themselves into rigid ideas, and intuition is frightening.
Yeah, to a lot of people, yeah.
Well, I think what ends up happening is you end up living your life by everybody else's rules and structure.
Right.
If my gut tells me that I should not ever wear pink because I never feel good wearing the color pink. Why should I go to a business that their uniform is pink? Every day I walked in, I wouldn't feel good about myself.
Yeah.
And how could I perform my job without feeling good about myself?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'd be so worried about what other people thought, or the perception of.
To the other people that says,
it's very imprisoning.
Yeah, what difference does that make whether you feel good or not? Do your daggone job.
Yeah. But
well, and that is not the kind of business that I would want to be in.
Really?
I wouldn't want to enjoy what they're doing You know, it's so important that we have things that that keep us motivated, that keep us growing,
Make you
that
want to
keep
go
us
to work.
happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, like your blankets, Teresa.
Mhm.
They bring so much joy. On so many levels. For example, now this was long before we knew this that you had these blankets, but when I was born, my mom bought two. She put one away, and I had this blankie that I remembered and loved. And then when my son was born, 30 some years later, I had the same thing that I loved so much, an exact duplicate that I was able to give to him.
Yeah.
And he carried that around. So the joy that my son as a baby received, me giving him something that made me feel good as a baby, and my mother being able to say, hey, I saved this for a very good reason, it's bringing someone else joy 30 years later. You know, look at just what something so simple can do. The joy of giving, the joy of receiving, and the joy of sharing.
Well, I know partly
an item that from birth.
Yeah. I know my granddaughter Shane inspired me. She and I understand what you mean about the joy. It's like, well, everybody. Partly why I decided to start selling them is because of the joy that I saw my granddaughter. I said every little kid needs this joy, and not everybody knows how to sew, and so I'm willing to share.
Absolutely. Sewing is a dying art. All of the home ec stuff is a dying art, and it's such a shame. And it really is an art.
Well, I know I'm finding that out just trying to find some cording to put on these bags that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. I had to go, how far away is Chillicothe?
50 miles.
50 miles just to get the accessories because nobody around here carries it anymore. They're destroyed their sewing sections. And yes, it is a dying art. And so I'm willing to share what I can do with everybody else.
Oh, and I know that, I can tell that by taking that effort to go 50 miles, I mean, that's how much intent you're putting into making these.
Well, that was after scouring the county. That was after looking all over the county for it. Well, I wanted it. I needed that.
I'm sorry?
I said, go ahead. I said, well, I needed the specific parts. I didn't want to just settle.
Exactly. And you know what? I bet that 50 miles made you really lay out in your head how you wanted to present them, and it gave you a chance to think about what kind of material you'd like to use, and made it even more special. And the great thing about putting that kind of energy into an effort made out of love is that it kind of imprints into what you're doing. So when you pass off that blanket to shipping and handling, and you know that it's going to a new family, that energy of love is not with it. And that always stays there. It's imprinted for permanently. And sometimes I found that maybe it's not the baby who needs it, but it might be the person who's giving it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think about that, the imprinting of the love on these blankets, but yeah, each one, like I've said a few times, is like when I put one up here on the wall to show in the YouTube, it's like, well, this is one of my favorites, and then this is what. Well, I guess they're all my favorites. You're right. There's a lot of love goes into these, or I wouldn't be doing it. That's why I want to share the hugs and the love with the babies.
We got love all over the floor.
Well, and people with that intent, that secret intent to have these loved and set with love, it's that the person that's receiving it is getting the love, or the joy, or the happiness, or the muscle memory of their time in their life when they were felt good about themselves.
I agree.
I caught my 13-year-old telling my 4-year-old, "That's my blankie. That's the one my mommy gave me when I was little."
Yeah, go get your own.
And I now know. Yeah, and I now know that after I'm gone, that story of love will continue.
Yeah, it sure will. It sure will.
And I think that is just amazing, and that you do that. That's your gig, your calling. I mean, that's just so important.
Well, it's just
It's-
one facet of many.
It's certainly interesting. To change the subject a little
Yeah,
bit, Amy,
yes,
I was prompted here by my associate. How did you get into the idea of ascension?
Well, several years ago, I was talking with my husband, and of course, being the guy that he is, he knows everything there is to know about everything. Because, we were discussing Stonehenge.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm sitting here and I'm daydreaming about Stonehenge during our discussion, and I started thinking, well, wait a second, this is this is set in a circle, and the circle means this, and this was before I knew there were other henges all around. I never paid attention. I didn't have a whole lot of interest, but I couldn't quite get my feelings out, or couldn't describe in words exactly what it is that I knew. So I drew it out for him, and as soon as I did that, the floodgates opened.
That was your awakening, huh?
I had always been, and I had always been drawn to, my gut and feeling intuition, and it's easy for me to read people based on their cues, and I never put things together. I didn't really care, to be quite honest.
Right.
I would use it to hire people. I would know that this would be the right person. I had no idea that all of this was connected. And it started kind of pushing me into finding more information, really to validate the daydream that I had about Stonehenge. Was I right? I mean, I'm just making this stuff up as I go along, right? I don't know if I'm right, so I better back it up. So I started looking,
and you found out that they had names for it.
Yeah, they had names for everything.
Oh no, I didn't even know that was an option. Thanks. Now I got to go back and do some more research. No, but it's the seeking and knowing and the driving just opened up more doors of possibility. And as my vocabulary of things that are unexplainable became explained, I was able to start feeling that there was more out there, that the world was off balance, and I could tell people why. Too much spark, too much quickness, too much people not paying attention, not enough connections, and I kept moving forward for the answers, and I learned a lot of things that were not the answer, and all of those drove me closer to things that were the answer. And at one day, I remember clearly, I was sitting in the car and I just got it. Everything opened up, and I had this unbelievable feeling of unconditional love that I've only experienced for a very short amount of time, when my babies were born and you look at them and you can't believe that you created this. That is the same muscle memory of unconditional love that I felt sitting in the car, and I knew that my life had changed forever.
Yeah, epiphanies can be quite emotional. Yep, I've had a few that make you sit down. Whoa. Yep. Then trying to explain that to someone else is hard.
It's very hard, and you try to explain it to a new person, but something that people have in common, it happens at different times, is that one moment of feeling of, I love this creation so much, I just want to eat them right up. I want to be fully involved with this. I have so much love for it. And I didn't realize how easy it was to love aspects of people that you know, or to pour all of that type of positive energy into into others. And it allows me to have absolutely no judgment about who people are or why they do what they do. Everybody has their own separate motivations. And as I started to connect to people, the connections of that unconditional love, that connection to different people in your world, people yet to meet, it started an awakening process. And when the unconditional love hit me in the car, it was a physical process, like an endorphin or release of all, of stuff that's been in your head and stuck in your head forever. It gave me permission to love people because I wanted to.
Right.
Not because you were told to.
No, exactly. And that's the one thing about this awakening process into ascension that I really would like to emphasize, that it always starts from loving yourself first and from the inside out. Nobody can define what love should be or how to love somebody. Love is given freely because people, should have it. But when there's rules and structures put around what kind of love is given to them, or what kind of friendship, or what kind of anything, it's kind of hard to know all the rules, and then conditions are put on it, and then the act of free will becomes a job description.
Yes, it does. Well, it's a question that was prompted to me. Can you feel the energy that incoming energy?
Yes, I can.
Okay. The question comes from me. I don't. In other words, we've been doing Reiki and all of this stuff, and I can achieve the results, but I don't feel it as such.
And I feel it tremendously. And I even programmed some stones in the last few days, and I could feel the energy. And I think it's probably a good time to introduce this bag that Amy has inspired for my Reiki Blankie business. That's why I said I've gotten excited here. We're gonna Gigi's Blankie, so I'm gonna hold it up here, and Amy, you can look on the YouTube later to see the prototype of the Blankie. But here's the Blankie bag.
I'm so excited. I have chills, Teresa.
Yeah.
I have chills.
Well,
My hair is standing up on my back.
It's looking good. It's a little bag here that I'm going to seal a charged Reiki stone in the bottom of the bag, and then you can take the Blankie after wash day, and you can take the Blankie after wash day, and like I have one in here now, and you can fold it back up. You put it in there. And I'd say if you leave it in for like a half an hour, the stone will recharge the Blankie with the Reiki energy. And I'm excited about it. And I've added some tassels on the bottom and a little hangy string, and the Reiki symbol on the front. And these are going to be available for sale soon. This is the prototype that's not completely done yet, but this is what it's going to look like. And it's a little bag in about, 9 inches long, and got the Reiki symbol on the front, a nice little hanging string, and a couple of tassels. And then I'm going to send you one, and then we'll see if you feel the Reiki off the stones and the Blankies when it gets to you. Because I think you can. If you can feel energy at all, I believe you'll be able to feel it.
Now.
You can feel it now? That's good.
I can feel it right now.
Yeah.
I do.
Because I thank you for your idea.
You invented it.
Yes, this is her idea. I'm just making it.
I believe what I'm here again, just to answer your question.
Got the tassel.
And we can tie it all together. I know, I can tell from the energy received back and forth in conversation with Teresa that you, Teresa, have the ability to charge these crystals.
Well, I did some this weekend for families. Yeah, I did some for families this weekend as gifts, and I could feel the energy coming about a foot off the stone, and it was quite amazing. It was like, yes, I can do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this is an excellent idea.
And here, Steve, this will help you out too, because I like you until this past weekend have been so frustrated trying to understand these energies. People tell me they're happening, so I say okay, and then I sit and I wait and I get nothing.
Yeah.
So I just kind of act my way into feeling instead of feeling my way into acting. But this past weekend, I stopped seeking and just started being.
Yeah.
Thinking, well, you know what? I'm just never going to figure it out. And so when I cleared my head of all the things that have been a labyrinth, really, for me, I got rid of all the things that are not what it is, and allowed things that were sitting right in front of me to maybe identify themselves. The energy that goes into those stones with those blankies, and I'm going to refer to one of your past guests, Magenta Pixie. She had just recently done a YouTube video where she was talking about the imprints of the energy matrix and how upon birth a baby is born into the energy matrix of the parents.
Okay.
And then from there the two parents split off into their two parents and the growth of that. And she talks about the environmental of a baby being born into the environment and the energy of that environment. Well, anybody who's choosing a blanket from you, Teresa, and they choose this specific blanket here, their vibration meets that choice. That's what they like. That's what makes them feel good, and that will make them feel good to give. So that free gift, or that goodwill of intent, is infused in that choice, because God or Source or whoever it is that your higher is, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, has made that connection for you guys. That you like the color green. Green makes you feel good. That you pick the one with the green string or the green whatever.
Yeah, they're going to have all colors.
Then you give the gift of green to the child, and that child enjoys what you enjoy, and together those energies connect. So now you've connected from the website to the person who enjoys it to the person they want to give it to, and that's how energy is transferred.
Yeah, well, maybe we should touch upon what Reiki is for those that haven't quite become enlightened.
We've been working on definitions and so forth. The Reiki energy is a universal source energy that is available to all, and by definition of Reiki, in the 20s it was identified and channeled and established so it could be taught, and the Reiki practitioner can open themselves to this universal energy that comes down through them like a straw, and it can be directed either into themselves or into someone else. And what Reiki does is restore balance. Your illnesses.
We're making some videos that explain more of this. We're running out of time.
We're running out of time. The illnesses are
yes, already.
Illnesses are blockages to the universal flow. And they result in disease or dis-ease, if you will. And the Reiki energy dislodges the blockages and allows the body to restore to balance. And that's in a nutshell.
But you can share the energy, and like I said, I can charge stones and objects, and it retains the energy. I find it absolutely fascinating. Every day I learn more and more.
If you're interested, there's much more to learn. We've run out of time here, Amy. It's certainly been an enjoyable time. And I hope we can schedule another one pretty soon.
While we're winding down here, Amy, is there anything else that you would like to say before we go?
Well, I appreciate you guys recognizing and allowing me to be part of this. I'm so excited. I can't believe it's been like 5 minutes. That's crazy.
Yeah. Got 30
I guess it would
seconds.
be remiss of me not to mention that I like to draw, and I have a website that maybe we can discuss in the future.
Yeah,
Well,
we'll put the
we'll-
links on our
Production.
Facebook. We'll put the links on our Facebook page.
Yeah,
Or
your
your
links
stuff.
will be there.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, but we got to go
Awesome,
now. Yep. All right.
Okay.
See you later. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Love
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Our mission on these blog talk radio presentations is to stimulate your thinking, and whether you're pro or con, we insist that you join us as we investigate
Evaluate.
and participate. Be part of the solution,
Not, part of the problem. We'll be back next week and talking about some more stuff. And I should have this Reiki bag finished. And thank you so very much for joining us.
And goodbye.
Goodbye.
Gigi Blankies, thank you for listening to the podcast today. This program is archived at Blog Talk Radio, captured and archived for YouTube video, and linked to Facebook as Musings with Steve and Teresa. Think positive, be positive, live positive, and enjoy.